And now for episode 3, we'll see how do we get a deal in today's market?
Yeah, how do we get a deal in today's market? Because I'm not a dumb guy and I wouldn't have bought a vehicle if I couldn't get a deal. So I did buy a vehicle in today's market. Now, a lot of that has to do with the fact that I've got a trade. I've got a couple trades really that are worth something. I've got a 2022 Mustang, which basically hasn't depreciated since I bought it. I've got an F-150 Lightning, which we'll have to see what happens with that. But of those two vehicles, one of them could be traded in. And it is traded in for what has been a very difficult decision. In the past, it was easy. I just didn't feel the wild track for 2021, 2022. I thought it was cool. It was a nice different model. I preferred the mags on the wild track. They're my favorite of all. Marie, these are her favorites of all. But I just preferred the Badlands, and I found it easy to prefer the Badlands. However, now it's tough because Ford listened to a lot of us when we said the wild track needs to be something special. They have made it very special. They've made it very special. It's got some pretty cool shocks going on. And the pretty cool shocks that they have, they're right here. And they're $4,800. So I'm basing a lot of this little discussion partially on what M. Peugeot said. He said, you can build your own wild track. And he's completely right. You can build your own wild track, and he's completely correct about the prices. However, if you build your own wild track, let's say you take a base, I did all the math and I built myself a base Outer Banks. And with my base Outer Banks, I came up to, $59,000 Canadian. But here's the thing. Take $59,000 Canadian and I add the tie rods. So 1,000. And it was 59 and basically rounds up to 60. So I was at 61 with the tie rods. Then you've got your Ford Racing electric steering rack and you're at 62.3, and then you add $5,000 for your Fox off-road shocks. And the only difference though is with these, you could actually end up being a little higher up than a wild track. But then let's say you put on 37s or 35s with mags, and I came up to, depending on the mags and wheels chosen, I came up to the price either of a wild track or more without having all the parts warranted and without having, nearly as good resale. I cannot possibly, historically in the automobile market, unless you're, Chip Foos or whatever, if you're building your own vehicles and you don't have a big name, you're not Carroll Shelby, if you're building your own vehicles, you're not going to be selling them for more than the manufacturer sells their models for. Modifications have never been an endeavor where you get your money back. So I ended up seeing myself spending about, with the tires, and I was looking at mags and 37-inch tires, I was going to spend about 12 grand on the $60,000 Outer Banks. So I just didn't feel it was worth it unless you use some shocks other than those from Fox. Now, the big tough thing was the wild track at basically, depending how you build it up, but about 81,000 Canadian. 82, how I built it. How did I build it? Well, I wanted the steel bumper in the front to have the plates all underneath, right from factory. I want the little hoop steps, and I went with a soft top. And it was really tough real tough choice, because that Badlands at 74, you got a Badlands here. It's got all your off-road protection. You've got your skid plates underneath. I built it with a 2.7 liter 10-speed automatic. Love the 10-speed automatic. Love the power of the 2.7. But you go in and I'm at 74,500 Canadian versus 82. So nice little difference. About $8,000 difference Canadian between the two models. I could have made the wild track a little less expensive by just taking their stock bumper. But yeah, hopefully I test drove the wild track and I feel the suspension's worth it. It is very, very comfortable, and I suspect that having incredible resale because it's a baby Raptor. So I was thinking about resale, I was thinking about comfort for my back, and that's why I've gone with the Wild Track, even though we all know Wild Track is a good recipe for for it taking longer to get your Bronco. And folks, if you don't get your Bronco built in 23, you're not going to have any special rebate in 24. You're not going to have some special carryover price. There'll be no price protection if you get carried over into the next model year. And that's going to be true for almost all Ford models, the Maverick, the Lightning, the Bronco. If you don't get built this year, you're going to pay more as a 24 model. But if you do get built as a 23, I think, is it fair to finish up with how to confirm an order, how to get a good deal?
Yeah, you want to finish it talking about your order?
Well, I've talked about my order. So I ordered the Wild Track. It's official. I've ordered the Wild Track. I wanted my Fox suspension. And on my Wild Track, I'm going to have the plates underneath and the steel bumper in the front. But almost on a daily basis, I either ask myself or risk losing my wife and relationship by asking Marie, should I save the money and get the Badlands? I'm still stuck.
Yeah, you were talking about that every morning. Badlands or Wild Track. Each morning.
One thing's for sure, I was a bad boyfriend. Because you can't.
I'm happy the order is done now.
Yeah, I can't talk cars every day with her. The poor gal. Ridgeview, thank you very much. The thumbs up really helps get these videos out, helps grow our community, bringing more information into the community so we can all know more, learn more, just have fun together. So that's what I ordered. Now let's talk about confirming and enrolling your order and making sure you get a good deal. There are good deals out there, but you need to keep in mind big rebates on certain models can sometimes mean poor resale value. But the market's starting to have rebates because of the higher inventory. Campers and RVs had, for the longest time, no inventory, so prices were high. Now the manufacturers have increased the prices on RVs and campers by such a high margin that, at least in my region, they're actually putting deals on them, $10,000, $12,000 off campers. So that's what I was doing this Sunday. I was off working to get information for us all at an RV camper sale. It was a show and sale, and it was wild. They had so many of these, and prices ranged up to almost $500,000. So the one here on the right, the whitish one, that was $200,000, and then this one is $437,000. And sure, it's got little, things that pop out on them, but there are deals to be had. But what I was noticing is the campers with the best reputation for quality, they didn't have rebates. And the models that were known amongst campers to, be the most prone to leaking and having some issues, well, they're the ones that mostly had the big rebates. So you have to kind of balance things out, make sure that, check the reputation out of the company and the model. Try to get something that's reliable. Don't just shop a rebate. I think the most important thing is to actually shop the product, make sure it's good, and make sure, most importantly of all, you like it. So test drive these vehicles. I didn't get to test drive either one of these. It wasn't that kind of show. Maybe later on, if people here in the group say, mention that they'd love to get RV coverage. Well, actually, just in case our community does like RVs and campers, I must have made about 20 videos. I filmed, I took a little lunch break and I filmed I took a few breaks during the day, and I got some film coverage of just, checking out prices, their rebates, walking in, doing a whole full tour on the inside, and walking out. So if you guys would like 2-minute videos, roughly 2 to 3 minute videos on different models and makes, and that I just give a quick little tour. Either I can add voiceover or just throw in some music so you can just get the images and be able to look at all the differences on the model and why some are $437,000 and some are $200,000, let me know. But there are deals to be had. You need to look for them, but you're not going to find them on models like the Bronco where the demand far outpaces the actual supply. But if you do order a Ford, here's one clear and concise way to get a good deal. And really this works at any automobile manufacturer. Build it online. Do like I did with the Bronco. Find out what's the interest rate this month, are there rebates, and what's the total price supposed to come up to. So if you're on the Ford website, it's pretty easy. There's a little calculator at the top here. So at the top of the page, top right of the page, there's a little calculator icon. You press that and it pops right up. You got your every 2 weeks. You can switch it to monthly. So the Badlands comes out to 1,032 Canadian. And that was last month's interest rate. But I've got it because I've got a confirmed order, and I'll show you in a moment. Now there is this little box, includes sales tax, so the actual price is $1,187, but that's not my build. But before I made my order, I knew that's what it was gonna cost me. And with the Outer Banks, I knew I had 12 grand put into an Outer Banks 4-door 2.7 liter, and it came up to the Wild Track price. Excuse me. I'm gonna lose my voice. I almost. The Wild Track, I hit the calculator top right. So this is a bit of a building price for us all. And I'm at let's look at the monthly. I'm at 1,166 monthly. Hey, it's the price of the Badlands. Nope, forgot to hit the tax button. So don't forget to hit the tax button. And if you're on the American website, they're always going to throw you a down payment. Don't get fooled by that. Do note there's this down payment box, and they always throw in it's either 5 or 10%.
You need to remove it.
Yeah, if you don't want to put a down payment down, you need to remove it to know what the real price is. But Ford and most manufacturers are going to detail all your little details so you know exactly the cost of the MSRP before your options. Oh, I've got $6,340 in options on a Wild Track. Oh, I'm not a reasonable husband at all, honey. And then total fees. You can't fight that. That's transportation, $2,195. So it comes up to $82,125 Canadian. And then once I know that, I go into my Ford store. You can call up your Ford stores and say, hey, I want to order a Bronco. Are you going to do this for me at, I've built it all online. You just have to take my order. It's going to be quick and easy, but I want MSRP. And wait for an answer. If the answer isn't yes, but it's, well, you can always call someone else. And do remember, also do business with people that you can trust, that you can trust, and that are willing to be in a position that you can trust them, because it's black and white on paper. So I've got right here, this is one thing that gets sent off to Ford. This is your build sheet. So it's got, the customer's name. So let's not all share this. I'm still Johnny, but you got your customer's name here. You've got an order code. I signed this, they signed this, I got a copy. They sent this off to Ford. But that's not all, folks. I've got a purchase offer. I know I'm probably going to lease, but as long as I have something signed. But I've got, tax credits from my Raptor, and if I lease, I'll only be using 3/4 of those tax credits. So I've got right here, T and Bubba's with me. We're both dreaming of a motorhome. I'd like actually to live out of a motorhome, retire early, and just do YouTube with you all and have fun on YouTube and just go to different destinations. Hence JCCR Adventures being born this year, our sister channel. So check out JCCR Adventures so one day we can travel around the United States and Canada with you all and show you all sorts of destinations and visit a lot of dealerships. But right here we got a purchase offer. It can be a lease offer, but it details the transaction, details what I bought. They signed, and they signed and I signed because anyways, you guys know. My signature is worth something on that. I've guaranteed myself a price, but yeah, get their signature. Sometimes dealerships, to try to get these things confirmed even, will just have you sign and then not sign themselves, but make sure you get your copy with their signature on it, because that's their pretty much legal binding sheet saying we're doing it at this price. Do keep in mind, Ford will also send you a sheet that says the price can change. And that's if you don't get built as a 23, then yeah, of course your price, if you're getting a 24 Bronco, you're not going to get it at the 23 price. Same thing for a Lightning, a Maverick. So this sheet is to protect people against dealerships that'll, say, oh, of course it's going to be the same price. Trust us, not sign anything. You'll get built way later, if at all. But Ford, to protect customers against buyers against those dealerships, are saying, well, no, the price could change. And they say, we're going to do everything. Basically, they say, we're going to do everything we can to get you a vehicle this year, the model year you ordered, at the price you ordered at. But some things are just out of their control. If they're building planes or tanks, they're not going to be building Broncos. So they can't legally promise you, no matter what, they're building you a 23 Bronco, Maverick, Lightning, whatever it may be. So signature, theirs and mine. Then, well, here, this is a Canadian thing. It says we won't sell to another country. But there's even a sheet, this isn't necessarily required at maybe in the States, but here's just a sheet saying that, by the way, customer, if your dealership told you no matter what, your trade will not change in value, we're guaranteeing you basically that it almost certainly will change in value. So Ford really wants to make sure that people are protected against dealers that say just about anything. But the real trick is put your BS detector on high and order from the right dealership. And if you're in the States, I'll plug my good buddy here, Tim Bartz. He's been a good buddy to all of us, but Tim Bartz at Long MacArthur, we know they're going to take care of you. They're going to confirm all this properly. But if you're not ordering from them, that's why I'm covering all this, so that you know whether the dealership is actually doing a confirmed and enrolled order, enrolled in the WebDo system, a WBDO system. They also need your driver's license. So this has a bunch of, kind of secretive stuff on it. So I won't show you all that, but they need to take a photocopy of your driver's license and also send it off to Ford. So you need to walk away with your copy so that when your vehicle shows up, people called me crazy when I said that for the Maverick. Some people called me crazy early on, and they're like, no, the Maverick, the whole point of its existence is to be an inexpensive truck. How could dealerships ever overcharge on that? And I was like, well, why not be safe? I suspect it's going to happen. It's going to happen somewhere. Ended up happening at a bunch of places. But yeah, do your homework, folks. Make sure you are protected no matter what manufacturer you're ordering from. Get your online pricing so you know what it should be, and then make sure that you get it in writing, the price they're going to sell it to you. Really important.